welcome to the 100th Monkey Radio. Tom and Ramon. Yeah, where's my little monkey at?
No, please don't do that. Please don't do that. That's so annoying.
Oh, so the monkeys are abound today. Oh man, this has been the last couple of months, Ramon, for me has been just absolutely amazing with the amount of new experiences and the growth that I've had, and just everything. It's been quite an amazing last couple of months, and the social consciousness is growing at such a rapid pace right now. It's staggering when I reach out with my senses and tap into that. It's like, oh my God, they're growing fast. They're learning so damn quick. It's make your head spin. So I'm very optimistic right now.
Yeah, for me, I seem to be growing only in one area. That's the tummy area.
Well, you're eating some good food, right?
Yeah, actually, I've always been like a little bit underweight, and I've always tried really hard to gain weight. And I come to Japan, and people are always like, "Oh, Japanese food is so healthy, and you don't gain weight from it." And then, quite the opposite. I've like gained 10 kilos, which would be 20 pounds.
It's the rice.
In 3 years.
It's the rice.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is, but I think it looks good, so I'm not complaining.
So, we got anything else going on the website we need to talk about, Ramon? Anything new in the news? No.
No, I didn't have a chance to put anything up new in the news.
Oh, we do still have those books up there from oh my God,
Russia.
Russia. Oh, geez, I was confused because we had Russia, then Rashmi, 2 weeks in a row. Wow.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the Oneness book from Russia is still up there. That offer that she is made to our listeners. So, if you guys are interested in that, take a look. It's right on the main page. So, let's see. Anything else? Find us Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, all those usual places. All those wonderful places. My YouTube channel. That's my Cow 2299 channel.
Yeah, I actually posted that on Facebook yesterday. The Tom Talks, the new Tom Talks. So you guys can check that out. What I always find amazing is, I'm always posting things up on Facebook. If I see like a little story, or maybe there's a story on UFOs or something, I'll post that up. And I always find it amazing when certain people make comments that I do not expect. And I was listening to an interview on a Veritas show with Miriam, and she said something that just rang so true, and I'm sure our guests can probably agree with that, back in the 1980s, if you talked about UFOs, very few people would actually even pay attention. Most of them would just give you a sideway look. But now, when you talk about it, so many people say, "Oh," and then you start hearing their own experiences and stories, and it just seems like so many people are having one type of experience or another. Just people I don't expect. Like, I've spoken to some contactees that are not ready to come out yet, that I never would, in my wildest dreams, would expect they would be a contactee.
Yeah, how's a guy, the respectable businessman that has a high-profile job? Those people? It's a challenge for those types of contactees or experiencers to come out of the proverbial closet. I mean, because I went through the whole ridicule factor and everything when I started my wake-up process, and I didn't have a whole lot of problems with it, just because I just really didn't care what they thought. On the most part, but family was a different challenge, but it's definitely a challenge, but there's so much support now for it.
Yeah, well, for me, with the ridicule factor, it never bothered me, because I got ridiculed as a kid so much that I actually made a tough skin, so
Thick
it's like,
skin, yeah.
yeah, you have to say something a little more to get me going.
Hmm.
So but I'm just surprised, just how many people have had some kind of experience, either seen something or someone came to their house.
More every day. So let's
Yeah.
get into our guest, Ramon.
Yes.
We've got Christine Day with us tonight. Christine's a leading spiritual teacher, healer, and channel who's been working throughout the U.S. and internationally for the last 15 years. Following a traumatic childhood in her native Australia, Christine was diagnosed with advanced systemic lupus at the age of 31 and given a short time to live. Shortly afterwards, she experienced profound spiritual awakening with the Pleiadians, the energy of which moved her to a place of complete self-healing. Since then, Christine's been working with the Pleiadian initiations of people throughout the United States and internationally. Christine is the founder of Frequencies of Brilliance, a healing modality that was channeled through her 20 years ago. Along with the original anime multidimensional bodywork, her first book, Pleiadian Initiations of Light, which is based on Frequencies of Brilliance, now offers this work to a broad general audience. Her website is www.christinedayonline.com. And welcome to the 100th Monkey Radio, Christine. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Well, how amazing it is to be here tonight with you two. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's just great to be here.
Oh, wow. So, with these and I'm guessing that some of our audience may have heard of you and some may not have. So, for those who haven't heard of you and don't know your background, would you kind of set us off with how this all started out for you with your communication with the Pleiadians?
Yes, I think it's really important for me to share some of my background because, it's significant in my journey and how I was able to work with the process of my whole awakening. And really, my background starts well before, when I was young, and my parents actually gave me to a cult at the age of 2. So I was in this cult, this satanic cult, from 2 to 13, and in that time went through a tremendous amount of torture and abuse and really was broken down into really like nothing. It was like my real core experience of myself, or my identity to myself, was really destroyed at that time. And so at the age of 31, I found myself in hospital, being given this diagnosis of a few months to live. I had various systemic lupus, and when they told me that I was not going to live, I realized in that bed that I actually wanted to die. That inside me, that's what I'd been wanting. And then, interestingly enough, there was this inspired thought that came into me at that time. And let me tell you, in those days, I had no inspired thoughts. I was just really a closed book, really in a very dark place with no connections, no beliefs, and really very depressed person. But I got this thought that I had created something to kill myself. And with that thought, believe it or not, I actually felt some excitement stir because I really didn't believe I had the ability to create anything. And so the next inspired thought was, if I could create something to kill myself, I could create my own healing. And I knew that to be true in that moment. So I was being fed these inspired thoughts. This was a part of, in that one moment, it was like I took part of my power back that I had given away as a child, that I just had, been broken down to, reduced to nothing almost. And so I knew in order to live, I had to leave that hospital, and somehow I realized I had to deal with some of the deep pain inside myself, the deep emotion that I'd never dealt with, my childhood background at all. And so I left hospital and left the doctors, and it was a short time later that I came into this, just the realization and the decision to self-heal shifted something inside of me. And it was a few weeks later that I was walking out in nature, and turned a corner, and there in front of me was this huge spaceship. And these Pleiadians were coming out of the ship and telepathically communicating with me, reminding me of my pre-agreement that I made before I came into this lifetime. Now, I went into full memory of that. It was like Christine almost didn't exist, and I was remembering all the details of my pre-agreement.
Wow.
I reconnected to my Pleiadian aspect of myself, and in that moment, I became that Pleiadian aspect, that energy of, and Christine was kind of there. I was just kind of like witnessing my human part in a very different aspect, and there was this light just pouring through me, and the Pleiadians were saying that this light was my Pleiadian energy, that it was now time for me to remember, to reawaken. And I didn't even believe in spaceships and aliens at that point, let me tell you. It was an intense, profound, deeply disturbing experience, because what happened was I found myself, I don't even remember getting home, I found myself in bed, and I was actually in bed for 2 months while this light radiated through me, and my Pleiadian family reminded me and brought me into a place of complete physical healing, as well as receiving these high elements of light and understanding over that 2-month period. So I came out of that 2 months later, shocked by what had taken place, and realizing that the Pleiadians were connected and interconnected. The angels and the light beings came to visit me during that time, saying that they were working the Pleiadians were working with them, and they were wanting to work with me. And so this was my whole process. It was really extreme.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to go back to your childhood, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Because we've had several guests that have been, had similar experience like that. And I'm wondering if maybe because of your energy, or maybe they spotted you, is that the reason why they probably brought you into the cult, do you think?
Well, both my parents were involved in the cult. And yes, I was the so-called chosen one. And I think, yes, I'm sure I had, I know I had elements of that light there at that time. I wasn't aware of it as a child, but it was absolutely a part of my energetic makeup. And I agree with you. I think that was part of the draw card for me to be in that place. There were a lot of children there, but none of them, many of them did not survive. It was a very extreme time, and there were a lot of deaths, and it was a very traumatic experience for a lot of years.
It seems like there's so many light workers that are out there right now who were shown and given that extreme contrast at an early age, and I think that actually triggers things within us and actually opens up potential doors for I don't know if it's a more effective or a higher state of energy work.
I totally agree with you, Tom. I know, I wouldn't like to repeat any of that experience, but I know I have worked with tremendous number of people who have had experiences, and because of my background, I've been able to hold a very strong platform, a space for people to come and really allow each person to be as, to go through their processes as they go through their initiations. And I know it's also brought me into a very, very strong place within myself.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to get too detailed into it, but I'm just comparing your story with other people's, and wondering, did they ever do anything to, for example, do something very negative to another child and made you watch, or vice versa?
Absolutely. That was a very regular practice. That's how they controlled you, through either pain, so you being in pain, or somebody else being in pain. So it was very, very, there was a lot of that sort of abuse and torture going on in the cult. A lot of, no food for days, and just a breaking down, a strong breaking down of your own mind. It was very, very much brainwashing.
The reason why I bring that up, and I want to apologize to everybody because I know it's very negative and people don't really want to listen to it. But the reason why I bring it up because I know with a lot of children they do that to shatter their mind in order to make one part of them like almost, lack of a better word, almost like a secret agent kind of thing.
Manchurian candidate stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's true, and you know what? I don't think it's so negative, Ramon. I just think that, it's hard for people to hear some of this, but it's continuing today too. There's a lot of it's still going on, and it's something many of us don't want to believe actually happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, because I've definitely heard a lot of stories like that, and the last thing about this, and then we'll move on to the heart of the message. But did you ever sense or maybe see any like reptilians involved in this cult?
I didn't. I actually didn't. No.
All right. Tom?
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get into the as Ramon stated, the heart of the matter here. First question I'd like to get out there is, I've heard a lot of different contactees who are communicating with the Pleiadians, and I would like to get your understanding and what's been shared with you of who the Pleiadians are. I mean, I want if you'd give me the the who, what, why, where, when thing.
Absolutely. Well, the Pleiadians are from what some of us know as the Seven Sisters. It's a starburst cluster, and they are awakened into the fifth dimensional unconditional love. That's where they are on their planet. They have evolved to unconditional love, that fifth dimensional energy. And they are here for us on this earth plane to assist us in this transition that is happening on the earth plane at this time. And what they really want people to understand is that they are working as part of a team, a galactic team, with the rest of the universal community in supporting planet Earth in different ways. And their role is to help with anchoring the dimensional settings on the earth plane and to working individually with humans in these what they call light initiations, and offering these light initiations and giving us a very good understanding of what's happening now on the earth plane and how each one of us can begin to work with these new energies and how we can move back into a state of empowerment through these realigning back to self. So they are bringing in the pieces of illusion that are here on our third dimensional earth plane, opening that right up for people to understanding the truth of what is here for each one of us to reconnect into.
Right. So how long have they been working on the planet? I've heard a couple of different time frames, but I'm curious of what they've shared with you.
All right. So, I've been connected to them for, about 24 years now. That bio said 15, but I've been working with them for about 24 years. And they've been on the plane working in different capacities, understand, because the timing's different now. So their capacity of working here has transformed incredibly. But they have probably been working on the planet for directly. Now they created all the crop circles, so we know the crop circles have been around for a while. And part of their role was to create the crop circles for their use now, and I'll talk a little bit about that later with you, because it's quite a very important piece of what's going on in the earth plane right now. So they created all the crop circles. They worked with all the sacred sites, the megalith sites on the earth plane, like Stonehenge and the sacred pyramids. So they have been on the earth plane for a number of For many, many years. If you see that they have helped create the pyramids and Stonehenge and all sacred stone sites on the earth plane. So they're all involved in those creations.
Now, have you asked the question of them about the genetic manipulation of humanity, and were they involved in any way with that?
They never were involved with that. Now, there was word out that they were. There was a sabotaging going on, and there has been a sabotaging going on around the Pleiadians of false information given out for people to start moving against the Pleiadians and the light that they are bringing here and supporting us with. But they have never been involved in that. Their whole focus, and this is really important to understand, is that they support the human being in our individual unfoldment and awakening for our enlightenment process. And they do not enter anyone's energetic field without their permission. And they have held fast on that from the time they have ever been on this earth plane. They have not been involved in any abductions or any of that genetic
manipulation.
Yeah, manipulation. Thank you.
Yeah. What did they tell you about as far as like the beginnings of humanity?
Well, they've really focused on, for me, and I know they work through different people giving different pieces of time. They've talked about creating the crop circles, getting the crop circles, the level of crop circles in place for this time now, for the crop circles to come into their full role of involvement. So they have been working with that. They talk about using the stargates, working through the stargates in the pyramids, way back in the Egyptian times when those pyramids were first placed there. They energetically moved those stones and placed them through magnetic frequencies, and that they operated directly through the stargates that were actually within the pyramid forms. Now the stargates are just coming back into their full role now in Egypt, and lining up with the crop circles. So, they talk about that work. I have not talked to them about where we have come from, because that hasn't been where my focus has been directed. Mine has been in working with, helping with the energetic anchorings of bringing these light initiations to people all over the world and to large groups of people at once. And that has been where my focused work has been. So I haven't had this, sense to even ask that question. It's an interesting piece, but it hasn't come into my teachings or relevant to my teachings that I have been doing worldwide for the last 20 years.
Right. So what are these portals that are everyone is talking about exactly? I mean, what comes through these portals? I mean, to me, a portal is sort of a doorway, right?
Well, you know what? It's a multi-dimensional doorway that allows energies to come in and for us to work through into the galactic community, into the universal community. So they're like they're almost time-traveling energies also, that where you can move, because there is no time, that you can move through time, through these portals to other states of consciousness and sacred connections. So the portals are being used in different ways. I have just been directed to move up to the North Shore on Lake Superior, where I am being directed to set up 3 portals for galactic communication, and where I can move off planet and connect and receive the latest understandings and teachings and bringing them back, and bringing pure communications through the portals, because portals actually are non-third dimensional states. Right, they're an energetic form that is supported and created by crystals, sets of crystals, and certain energetic states and sacred sounds. The Pleiadians work with sacred sounds, and as you make those sacred sounds, dimensional states are opened up. So the portal is activated through a sacred sound or a set of crystals, what the Pleiadians call crystal keys, portal keys. And they are activated and the portal opens. Now, when it opens, there's like this pure channel where you're protected, where you can either go off planet to have a clear and pure galactic communication or communication with the universal energies and community. It takes you out of third dimension into a fourth, fifth, sixth, and upwards energy where you can do work with telepathic communication. And that's part of my work, is to reopen the telepathic centers of people and allow them to learn how to re-communicate telepathically, because the rest of the universe operates through telepathic communication. So we need to bring our communication levels up to those standards so we can really start communicating with our neighbors and with the rest of the community that is within the universe.
So
the
these
portals are used for that.
So these portals have like an area of effect, or are they like accessible from anywhere?
There are certain portals can be created in any place. You have to have a clear space, and you have to know how to program the crystals and open the communications. And then you have to be able to move out of your ego mind and come into your heart center. And it's through the heart center that you can start to communicate through the portals. And you can either go off planet through the portals or sit in the portals. And because the portal space itself is non-third dimensional, it takes you into a different dimensional space where you can open up to these communications. So there's a series of portals being opened worldwide. Now, the ones that are set up by the human beings, us, are very potent. You see, when we as a human race start through conscious choice to activate these portals in alignment with the Pleiadians or any galactic energies, these portals are able to carry a much higher frequency because we as human beings are taking back our power. We're becoming empowered. And when you do that through an empowerment, then it allows the portal to have a different setting to it. And the ideal, as far as the Pleiadians are concerned, and the galactic community, is that we as human beings learn how to create these portals and activate them ourselves, so that we are the ones setting up the portals for our own planet, for our own unfolding, for our own enlightenment. And so the Pleiadians' job, and part of my new role here, the Pleiadians and the Galactic Council have been working with me in the last 6 months, are teaching me and initiating me into birthing these portals and teaching people how to create the portals themselves and learn how to communicate off-planet as well as on-planet. So it's a really powerful time right now of change for me, because I am being introduced for the first time to all the Lemurian energies who are working with the crystals and are working with me through the crystals. And I have huge crystals that I work with that are put in a certain formation, and the Pleiadians show me how to move the crystals to create different dimensional settings for people to come into a remembering of themselves, of their sacred selves and sacred natures. So this is part of the work that I'm doing, and a very big part of what the Pleiadians are in charge of at the planet right now, to empower us as human beings to move into this new dawning age of doing our own work and creating and setting up our own energetic sites.
So these portals, you mentioned that, getting them in alignment. Would that mean that it's like tuning into a certain frequency that is directed towards, like in particular the Pleiadians?
Well, it might be just the Pleiadians, but it can also be any of the galactic community. And there are many star energies and star groups within the galactic system. It also involves aligning and being able to have direct communication with the spiritual realms and the other areas of the universal community. So there's many different life force energy groups within our universal community that you can operate and communicate directly with through the portals.
Right.
So this is why it's so important, Tom.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to get at is that, you know, there's a lot of forces and energies that are out there. And, you know, if I just stepped up to an open broadcast booth and started, asking or talking or whatever to any and all forces that are out there, I'm going to get a response of some kind. And probably the first ones to jump on the bandwagon in an open forum wouldn't be the ones that I would typically really enjoy having in my sphere. So, but what I'm saying is when you tune and align them, you're kind of focusing on that benevolent aspect and keeping the channels directed in that sense.
Absolutely. The portals hold a frequency of light that only allows a certain frequency of light to enter.
That's what I was fishing for.
Yes. So they are all totally protected by the crystal forms. And so there is like it's not like an open channel at all to all and everything. It's like a chamber of light or a column of light that comes down around the portal and holds a certain energy that only allows a certain light frequency to enter.
Right.
Or for you to come in and out of. So they're very protected. I've been working with the Pleiadians on circles of light for probably 15 years. So I'm pretty expert at this. And what we're doing is yes, I've been directed to place 3 open portals on this land up in Lake Superior, where there's just, a couple of hundred people who live here. But we have 3 acres on the lake shore. So we're activating those 3. And then others who will come and learn how to work with these portals will take them and create a portal where they are. So there will be a pattern of portals created, and I have students all over the world, from Israel to Europe, Brazil, Argentina, Canada, and the United States. And each student will activate a portal where they are when they learn how to do that. And so these portals will create these patterns of energy also that will support and create a grid to further anchor the higher dimensional levels on the earth plane, those 4th, 5th dimensional energies that we are needing here for the awakened state that we are moving towards. So it's a huge project, and a lot of people are involved.
Sounds like it.
Going back a little bit to the telepathic, because even when I was younger, I always knew that, because it just wouldn't make sense to me. So, for example, we live on planet Earth, and there's, I forgot how many languages, like over
lots.
300 or 400, and then you have dialects and so on and so forth. But
look at the miscommunication that goes on.
Oh God!
Even those who speak the same language, and then how often are there words that you can't really? We don't have those words in our English language to describe an experience.
Right.
Yes. So with the
Ramon, did we lose you?
I think we did.
testing.
Yeah, there you are. You cut out for a minute there, Ramon.
Oh, I was trying out the telepathic communication. Anyway, so with the telepathic communication, I've heard some people talk about how they would have certain contacts and they would learn these symbols, and these symbols would allow them to put a whole concept or idea in this symbol. So when I send that symbol to you, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to the store to buy this, and that, I would just send you that symbol, and the whole concept and idea of what I'm going to get at the store all pops in at once into your head. So they can, the transfer of information back and forth between them is compared to what we would normally do, because it takes so long for us to explain something, even just to explain the question. So have you experienced anything like that where
Well, I've experienced telepathic communion and telepathic communication, And what's happening with the Pleiadians is that they are activating the telepathic center of the brain through the crystalline structure that is activated. We all received a crystalline structure in our bodies on 11/11/11, every human being on this earth plane. Because I always wondered, how is this awakening going to take place when the Pleiadians were saying to me, well, you know, we've got this fourth, fifth dimensional energy anchoring on the earth plane, the third dimension's going to move off. I'm thinking, how are we going to cope electrically with this higher energy, this higher frequency, and be able to carry this in the cells of our body? But on 11/11/11, we all received this crystalline structure through the cells of our body, and the scientific community is now discovering this crystalline structure. So they're starting to prove that it's actually existing in our bodies. Then on 12/12/12, those of us who are awake, that we all began an activation of this crystalline structure. The crystalline structure is in the heart center, and when it's activated, the heart begins to open and birth like a natural receiver. It was placed in the brain, and when that's activated, the telepathic center begins to reopen. So the Pleiadians are giving light initiations to people to activate the crystalline structure in the brain, to expand the telepathic center, and that's part of the book. Is there's the telepathic center opening up with these initiations, where you begin to and you learn. You have the activation of the telepathic communion. You're given sacred sounds and how to connect and work through your telepathic center to the Pleiadians, to the galactic community, to the spiritual realms. So this is a natural path that is reopening through all human beings who are ready to receive the openings. So I am working with large groups of students, large audiences, reactivating the telepathic center through the crystalline structure that's been placed there. And it's incredible what's taking place. It's a natural realignment. It's an empowering space, because people are starting to communicate telepathically with even the natural forces on the earth plane, but with the spiritual realms and with the galactic community.
Yeah. Is that, I've heard some people call that like the Crystal Palace. So, for example, some of the Buddhas, you see like the Buddhas in different places, and you see these beads around their neck. And what was explained to me, that those beads are representation of what actually happens to some people when they become so crystallized that their neck will actually produce some of these beads. So my question is, have you yourself experienced, like, what some people may, there's different words for the same thing, but this crystal palace kind of opening in the center of the head?
Absolutely. My crystalline structure is fully opened and operational, and I use it all the time. And part of my work is to work, I'm multiplex, and I can work with thousands of people all across the world at the same time, and people get to have a direct and individual experience with me. It's like in Brazil, I work with in a theater with 2,000 people, and I transmit the energy out, and people receive individual processes with me at the same time within the theater. That's part of our natural abilities. We can all move back into that place, and I have just, been working with this for some time because of just where I'm at, through my awakening. But we all had this, and many of my students are doing the same things. They're moving in that direction. So it's very viable, very true, and we have an unlimited capacity once we start operating through that crystalline structure to communicate telepathically and to create and manifest. And it also, every time you use that crystalline structure through your body, your whole system goes through a recalibration and almost a youthing process. And the Pleiadians are saying that we're going to live much longer this lifetime. Once this crystalline structure is fully activated, and they're saying between 10 to 15 years everyone's will be, because there will no longer be a third-dimensional setting here on the Earth plane at that time. We will have gone through a total transformation into a fourth, fifth-dimensional consciousness and awakening by then.
Yeah. Are we physically, like physically meaning on the outside, changing as well, or is this something just internally?
There's an internal change first, and then there is an energy. The body begins to transform on a physical level. There is a physiological change going on, even now, with the crystalline structure in the thyroid. The thyroid is changing its role. It's becoming and holding the element of our own individual, what the Pleiadians call divine factor. So many people are presenting with thyroid problems right now, and the fact is that there's nothing wrong with the thyroid. It's just changing its role. And our heart centers are transforming. Yes, there is an absolute crystalline, physical crystalline structure forming between the space of the cells of the heart. So the heart center is energetically and physically going through some changes. So the scientists are working and looking at these changes and documenting them even now. And it's within the blood as well. There's a change within the energy and the makeup of the blood itself.
Are these changes tied in closely to what's happening with like the sun and all the different solar radiations or galactic or cosmic radiations that we're receiving right now?
Exactly, Tom. They are. And we're needing this change of energy. Because of the crystalline structure, we're needing this different dynamic, energetic dynamic here on the Earth plane. Now, many people aren't aware of that, but we are actually receiving energy from not only just those rays, those solar rays, but the energy of the sun itself is bringing a new element, a new essence into our cells and feeding us differently at this time.
Yeah, I mean, you just with all the changes that we've had in just the sun in the last 20 years. It's
the color change.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it used to be, that lemon yellow sun, and now it's white.
That's true, and also the elements of I don't know how connected you are to the natural forces of the Earth. We're talking about the earth, the wind. I'm a shaman myself, and the Pleiadians are the ones that transmitted all the native teachings to the native people. They brought the shamanic teachings to all native people on this Earth plane. And of course, when I came into my initiation with them, they trained and initiated me in the shaman traditions. And so they're talking to me now about how the Earth and the natural forces are here. The veils have lifted, and they are coming in like no other time before to assist us as human beings in our integration of this energy, of this crystalline structure. The earth and the fire and the wind even and the sun are all coming in to support us and integrating this new transformation in our bodies. And so part of the information the Pleiadians are giving for human beings is to, lie on the earth. And teaching through the book is the telepathic communion with the Mother Earth, with the spirit of the fire and the wind and the sun. So it's really like we're coming back into this natural realignment, this weaving and birthing between the Earth's natural forces and ourselves. We're both going through, as the Pleiadians say, this mutual birthing process. And so it's really, to me, really a divine flow and synergy.
There's quite a group of different races out there that are bouncing around our skies, very intent on planet Earth right now. What other races and organizations are you aware of that are working along the same lines as the Pleiadians right now that are lending their support?
Well, the Syrians are very involved. There's actually all eyes are on planet Earth right now. They say to me that the galactic community as a whole and the universal community as a whole are all working together in this project. And it's not a scientific project. That's maybe the wrong word, because some people don't like that word. But we are on a fast track of transformation. So there is a huge collective organization to support us in all sorts of different ways. So there are many of the elements, the Lemurian energies, that have been really just had quite a taken a back step for a number of years, quite a while, are coming in now to work very strongly with us because of the crystalline energy. They are supporting us in our integrations alongside the Pleiadians. And then there are many star groups that are coming in that, I'm so busy with my own groups that I'm working with. I'm not, but there's tremendous number of different star system groups and star teams that are here, very busily working in all sorts of ways, because there's got to be such a level of energy. It's not just helping us as human beings, but there's also people who are channeling through individuals on the earth who are bringing information in. There are many groups to attract many different groups of people, so the information is getting there and the help is coming in to support us and our earth that is going through this transformation. And the birthing of the earth is going to be intense. The Pleiadians say that. It is going to intensify. Actually, I got an information today that there's going to be a change within the rotation point of our Earth, and they say this change is being created through a dimensional shift within the Earth's central point, and it's going to change the whole vibrational pulse of the frequency of our Earth plane, opening up a series of energetic pulses that are going to directly affect the physical body and the Earth at the same time. And they're saying this is going to begin next week. So I only got this information hot off the press this afternoon. And, there's so many different processes going on that we need to, align to. And the Pleiadians are trying to give out the information, not bringing fear. They say, we're fearful enough as a third-dimensional human. They don't want to create fear, but they want to bring knowledge and clarity so people can consciously step up and say, okay, this is happening, and then Pleiadians give the people information on how to work with this new energy so that they can go and align with the flow and the change.
Right.
So that's their real commitment here to us as human beings. And then people say, well, what's in it for the Pleiadians? Why are they doing this? And, well, they're doing this as part of a group. They're part of a team. And this is their role. But
right.
The teamwork is vast, very vast.
So is what we're going through here on planet Earth a first-time event, a unique event in the cosmos? There's been quite a few groups and people who have made that claim that what the process that we are going through now has not happened before in the cosmos.
That is absolutely correct. And that's why there's such a universal community working with us on this project. And understand, too, we are part of the project. We have said yes to being here on this Earth plane. And there's so many people out there who have said yes to being here and to playing major roles. That we have pre-agreements. We've all made pre-agreements before we came to this Earth plane to work with a certain energetic group at this time. And the Pleiadians are saying, please give permission for your pre-agreements to be activated and allow these energetic groups who you have said yes to working with come and support us now. You see, we're not able to do this alone. We need help, and each one of us has selected a certain energy. It might be the spiritual realms, it might be the Pleiadians, Lemurians, it could be Syrians, it could be any other life force group in the universe, but they can't come and support us without people's permission.
Right.
So these pre-agreements we have to say yes to, and then your energetic team can come in and support you in completing your mission successfully. And that's another piece of what's going on right now is they're calling us to activate these pre-agreements that we have made. And people say, well, I don't know who's going to show up. But the fact is, guess what? You're the one who chose the person that would come and support you. So you're the one who selected your pre-agreement team, no one else. So for anyone who's afraid to do that, I just want to encourage them and say, you know what, before you came onto this incarnation, you chose the group of energies that you wanted to work with and fulfill your mission with. And so that's all you're activating is that group of people, you know.
Yeah.
So,
For me, all it took was, well, let's see, I got arrested, sent to jail, my house burnt to the ground, I lost my first wife. You know,
you had to wait a while.
It just took a little smack upside the head,
and
it took me to my knees and asking the question, what the hell is really going on here? And that was the door that's what opened the door for me and my wake up process and finding
well, you know,
all that.
Tom, whatever it takes, huh?
Exactly.
Because I went through my own rigorous time, believe me, and you know, I wouldn't want to redo it, but guess what? I needed every moment of it.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. I want to ask one last question before we finish up this hour, and there's I've heard stories like we had one guest and I've heard this from other people where you'll have a certain type of group, extraterrestrial group that will come and I don't want to say which extraterrestrial group because I feel that then they get stereotyped as that. So anyway, that they will say things like, okay, you agreed to this, and then what they would do is torture the person and do experiments on them and say, no, but you agreed to this. So I know that's not what you're talking about, and I bring that up because I've heard the stories of this happening to people.
I think it's good to bring it up, Ramon. You know why?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of fear around this. And there has been, in the past, some of that taking place. What I am aware of at this time, let me just comment on what I'm aware of, is there is a galactic council in place right now to oversee this whole process of what we are going through. And when I mean oversee, they make sure that we are on track, that we are supported, that we're not receiving too much activations at a certain time. They are monitoring. They are monitors of the whole situation. And part of that monitoring is that there are no abductions at this point allowed in the process without people giving their permission. And so that's the only thing I can comment on. I do know that some people did make pre-agreements to have certain inserts to support them in their awakening, to carry a certain essence and energy. These inserts are transmitters that actually transmit a frequency on the earth plane to assist in the awakening process. But from what I have been shown, that is not a torturous process. That is just something they pre-agreed to have done, and there is no pain involved. So as far as I'm aware, that is not taking place at this time.
Yeah.
But but that's as far as I know. But that doesn't mean I'm totally, that's my awareness. It doesn't mean it's not. But that was what the information I was given by the Galactic Council, because I've just been in touch with the Galactic Council for the last 12 months. They came to me for the first time 12 months ago and spoke with me. And I've been working with them for the last 12 months, as well as very closely with the Pleiadians. So that's all, the only thing I can comment on. And, it doesn't mean I'm totally right, but that was what my understanding was of the time.
I know this is going to sound funny, but I'm being serious when I say that say this. Is there like a maybe like a complaint, or not an office, but somewhere to complain, like, you know, because with all these interactions, I always say that each individual, whether you're from this planet or off planet, uh, you should be judged by your actions, not,
Absolutely. But
not
that
your
is
race.
accountability. And
Yeah.
understand, within the universe, there is great accountability. It's not just here on planet Earth that we're asked to be accountable. It's a universal code of conduct, and it's what the Pleiadians call the living principles, and that is in operation throughout the universe except planet Earth at this point, they are saying, and we are moving towards receiving the energy and the essence of that on this planet, and it started January this year. So there is accountability, but there are always rogues. It's not there's not even. But my understanding was the rogues were being kept well away from planet Earth at this time. So whether I'm wrong, and I could be, I'm not going to say I know. That's my understanding, and it could be incorrect. That's my only comment on it.
Okay.
Right. All right. Well, we've burned up that first hour, which went. It happens
fast,
with.
Isn't it?
It does. It goes very fast. When we get really interesting guests on, and the conversation is plugged in. Next thing we know, the hour's over. So, Christine, I know you got some books and some DVDs and CDs and stuff out there. You want to share with our audience where they can pick that stuff up?
Yes. My new book, Pleiadian Principles for Living, and my first book, Pleiadian Initiations of Light, is cheapest on my website, www.christinedayonline.com. But it's also available in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other bookstores. And it came out last month, my second book. And that's the handbook that holds 27 audio files, so that you just download the audio files and you have these light initiations that go with the chapters. It's really amazing what the Pleiadians have done with that. So yeah, my website, and it is a store there. There's a Pleiadian seminar that's been offered in October, a 3-day Pleiadian seminar in Minneapolis, and all my events are on that page. So just go to the store and you'll see what's going on. And cool. Really important, do I have a moment, Tom, to say this?
Certainly.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. I have it free. The Pleiadians direct me to do 6 free video broadcasts a year. The latest one, which was June, is still on the front page of the website. It's all free. There's a very special energy on that June broadcast, video broadcast. And then the next one is September, and then November, December. And they're all set to align and assist you with these new changes that are coming onto the Earth plane. And one of them is what I just talked about with this change within the rotation point of the Earth, which I got this morning. And so just, if you feel to, go and watch the broadcast and just learn the tools. The Pleiadians, we give it all free. We give out as much free stuff as we can to really support all of you in your transition.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here for the first hour. I want to thank everybody for listening. If you're not a member yet, I would urge you to click that join button and become a monkey. It helps support Ramon and I and all that we're doing here. So, and we really appreciate that. So, love you guys. Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance.
The love you deny is the pain you carry.
And who's this taking us out, Ramon?
This is Blaze featuring Garrett Do, Stand for Love.
All right, guys. See you in the second hour.
Solve the problems that divide the world of black and white. In the racism, we've got to fight, so we must stand for love. You've got to take a stand. You've got to take a stand for love. A stand for love. For love. You've got to take hate and love each other. It's the only way to take a stand for love. You've got to take a stand. You've got to take a stand for love. A stand for love, for love. You've got to take a stand. You've got to take a stand for love. A stand for love.